following program on Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations. We would like to remind our viewers that the views expressed in this program by our participating guests are solely viewpoints of them who take part, and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Derana Media Network.
Well, if you're wondering where exactly we are today on Gen XYZ, we are at Upside Down Colombo, located at Sri Jawaharlal Kote. It's an absolutely amazing place. And today we're in conversation as to how we can navigate 2024 and things that we can actually find, of course, when it comes to challenges in Sri Lanka with tin, taxation, and so much more. It's making it quite difficult for all of us youth, of course, to achieve our goals that we've set for 2024. And that is exactly why we brought to you a life coach that will tell you exactly what you can do in order to achieve all the goals you've actually set for 2024. And this is Mr. Lien Keerthisinghe. So let's go right on and have a little conversation with him. Don't forget, this is Gen XYZ. Hello, hi.
Hi.
It's very nice meeting you. Good morning.
Likewise.
Good morning. All right, so we're joining in with Mr. Lien Keerthisinghe, of course, who is a life coach, and that is exactly why we're here to have a conversation with regards to how we can navigate 2024 as youth members. Now, talking about that, Mr. Lien, it's very important when it comes to 2024. You know, the youth now has to actually make a TIN. You know, it's a tax identification number. It's a lot of things. You know, at the age of 18, you're quite lost. You don't know what you're doing. So how can we, as a youth member, of course, navigate and plan 2024?
2024 indeed is going to be a very exciting year. There's so many changes right at the beginning of 2024. Not only in our country, all over the world, there are so many changes happening, right? So many disasters happening as well. But with all that, I think 2024 is going to be a very interesting year, but to navigate through all these challenges, all these unexpected things, like you said, I think goal setting is going to be paramount importance for this year now more than ever.
All right, so talking about goals though, it's not very easy to make it, right? You can think about it very easily, but you can't achieve it. So how would you suggest that we can actually achieve it or make achieving goals easier as opposed to making them?
Okay, I would say something contradicting to what you said. Achieving goals is very easy, right? But why people find it difficult is the goals that they set are merely dreams sometimes. A nice quote that I heard some time back was, goals without a plan is just a dream, right? And many people, when they set goals, they set desire statements or dreams which are hard to achieve. And one of the primary reasons why people cannot achieve goals is because they lack in clarity, right? So a goal like, I want to be healthy, I want to be rich. Everyone wants to be rich. But then again, what exactly are you going to do? How are you going to do it? So the fact that some of these goals does not have clarity and specificity makes it that much difficult for people to understand what they need to do. And the second thing is, people make goals, but they don't make a plan. Once again, like I said, a goal without a plan is just a dream. So when you don't have a structured approach to achieving your goal and you don't know how you're going to achieve the goal, it becomes that much difficult. But the good thing is, when you put all these building blocks together, achieving goals become very easy. That's what I do with most of the people that I work with. I help them to establish clearly articulated goals in all areas of their life and work towards them with a structured plan. And I would say people who have that kind of an approach have a 90% success rate above the others.
Amazing. Now, obviously, you mentioned the fact that this is what you do for a living, right? It's very interesting that you're doing this for a living as well, because it's crazy. It's a very unique industry, and it's amazing. Kudos going out to you for doing it. But talking on the lines of that, you work with a lot of professionals as well. You professionally help them achieve their goals and achieve, their goals, their life as well in a whole. But if an 18-year-old comes, or if a 19 or 20-year-old comes, they're very lost. I was lost at that age. You were lost at that age, I'm sure. But how would you actually help them out in order to kickstart their life?
Well, despite of the age, I think it's very important that they first understand where they want to go, what they want to be doing in life, and in relation to that, start working on a plan. So sometimes what you want to do may be 20 years away. You're 20 right now and you have a goal which can only be achieved when you're 40. But if you don't plan it right now, if you don't start breaking it down into yearly, quarterly, weekly things
Yes.
that you need to achieve, that journey is going to be that much difficult, because our psychology works in such a way. If we don't know what we have to do, right, if it's not clear, ultimately what happens is we start procrastinating, and we start seeing this quite a lot when we talk to people. They have made goals, they have prepared goals, they have started writing them down, creating vision boards and all that, but they have been procrastinating without taking action towards achieving their goals. So as much as clarity is important, I think it's also important to have a plan which is actionable, and actually do it with accountability with someone professional who will help you get through the challenges step by step without getting distracted.
Amazing. And obviously you mentioned in terms of clarity, right? Quite a lot of people don't necessarily know what you can find clarity. Because at the age of 20, to be quite honest, Mr. Lien, I was very confused. I didn't know what I was doing. I was jumping into different industries. And that is the case when it comes to many of the youth as well. How would you suggest they actually start off? Now, you mentioned something about a vision board as well. Is that something in the lines of that?
So let's say when we start working with someone as young, as you mentioned, who wants to set goals for their life. First thing is understanding what you want to become. A lot of people at that age are scared to commit because they're like, what if I change my mind later on? But if you don't start your journey without a destination, you're just traveling, right? You're just focused on the journey. You're not focused on achieving a destination. So we always advise them to first, let's together work through and figure out where they want to go, what they want to be achieving, how their life needs to be looking like when they're, let's say, 40 or 30, right? And then start working backwards. Now, if you established your perfect life, I have this program called Create Your Perfect Life, right? So in that, what I do is I get people to envision how their life needs to look like when they're 30 or 40 or whatever that age range is. And then you start working backwards. So when you are clear about how your life is going to look like, and this is not just one goal saying I'm going to be a CEO in a company, it's a holistic approach to all categories of your life, your health, your wealth, your relationships, your business, your parents, and probably by that time you'll have a family, children. How do you want to send them to school, what kind of schools that you want to send them. So it's like a holistic approach. Once you envision that picture in your mind, then only you can start working step by step, working backwards to set milestones to achieve that goal. Where a lot of people fail at a young age is, like you said, they are confused, they don't know. So even if they can figure out what they need to do, they get freaked out, they get scared, like, what if I change my mind? Right? So they don't actually try. And fear of failure is one of those key things, especially at a younger age, which holds people from engaging in activities like that. But my recommendation is, as confusing as it may be, as challenging as it may be, if you start working at a younger age, when you are at a certain age like 30 or 40, the things that you have achieved by that time would be amazing. Because I discovered coaching when I was in my 30s. I end up thinking, if I knew these coaches when I was 18 and if I had this knowledge when I was just passing out from school, where my life would be today. So it's a great place to start.
So Mr. Lien, obviously when you mentioned in terms of like you started coaching at the age of 30, right? So how do you make this vision board? Like everyone says, do a vision board, but does it really work? Did you do that?
So I have a very interesting story to share.
Okay.
So when I was little, maybe Montessori, kindergarten when I was maybe between grade 1 and 3, I don't know. But I remember I was like really small. My father, I give all credit to my father, he actually got me to do a vision board. It was a painstaking activity because at that age I did not want to do a vision board. I did it because I wanted to make my father happy. But to date I remember that vision board. It was a light blue color bristle board, and at that time we did not have internet and printers and stuff like that. So everything was cut out from papers, from the car that I want to have to the house that I want to have to everything. And you know, I did it, I pasted it in a place where I can see, and somewhere down the line I lost it. Obviously life happened, and so many years back when I think about it, I don't know where I've kept it. Probably it would have got torn, I would have thrown it away because we changed houses and all that, but I still remember that vision board. And when I started getting into coaching and I started learning more about goal setting, achieving goals and vision boards, I remembered my vision board and I started writing down everything that I remembered, that I put down on it to best of my ability. I remembered I have put 18 goals down. And I was 33 years old at that time, and I was like, wow, I have achieved 16 out of these 18 goals.
16. That's a big number, by the way.
Absolutely, right? And as a child, maybe I would have been 6 to 8 years old at that time, or even smaller, but you know, I have made progress in my life and I've made it count. I've achieved those goals. And it's not like I always remembered these goals, it's not like I worked towards these goals, but they've got achieved. And even the 2 goals that I have not achieved, I would say I have achieved more than 50% of getting there. But surprisingly, that has happened very organically, very subconsciously. So it helped me to do a little bit of research on this. And what I realized is, when you do a vision board, when you put those visual cues in front of you, something beautiful happens. It gets registered in your subconscious, and although consciously you are not working towards it, your subconscious starts working towards it. It drives you, it motivates you, it guides you to take the right decisions, the right path in life to get closer to those goals. So research says 96% of the time, people who have set a vision and done a vision board has a greater chance of achieving those goals compared to a person who have not even thought about it.
Right, that's amazing, honestly. So the first thing I'm going to do today is really go home and build myself a vision board for the next, 5 years.
Absolutely.
But talking about that, of course, I feel like a vision board, and what you were saying in the lines of it, is to find purpose in life. Finding purpose in life is not very easy. So what is your take on it when it comes to really finding purpose in life and working towards it?
I think that's a very important question that you're asking, because I believe discovering purpose and passion in life is something that everyone must do. I have this ethos around which my coaching, my entire life revolves. That is, the absolute purpose of human existence is to discover happiness and fulfillment. If you really think about it, everything that we do is to discover happiness. Even if we do a job, even if we do a business, we try to earn money, we get into a relationship, or we have goals like migration and everything, we are actually trying to discover happiness in our own definition. Right? But how can you be happy if you do not discover what makes you happy? So discovering your purpose and passion is an activity that you can do to realize what makes you happy. Right? Now, when I discovered my purpose and my passion, I realized the only solution for me, or what I have to do, is to become a coach. Right? But that result would have never happened if I did not try to discover my purpose and passion. So people who does not discover purpose and passion becomes slaves to their lives, right? They start running a rat race in search for happiness, but they never discover happiness. So the only thing that they inherit in that race is, I don't know, maybe depression, maybe dissatisfaction, not feeling good about yourself, not believing in yourself, losing self-confidence. And we can see this in the society happening a lot. So at a young age, like 18, like you said, if you can start discovering your purpose and passion, that becomes your magnetic north, that becomes your guiding star for your life. So everything that you set for life, in terms of your goals, in terms of the things that you want to achieve, in terms of the type of job that you want to get into, the type of business that you want to start, the type of partner that you want to have for your life, all these things becomes a part of, things that are coming out of your purpose and passion. So that's why discovering your purpose and passion is very important.
That's amazing. Honestly, I've got a very important question in line with what you actually mentioned there. But on the other side, of course, because we're going to bounce right into a short commercial break, this is Gen X YZ. Well, if you're wondering what is going on right here, Mr. Lien, as well, it is all upside down, of course. This is Upside Down Colombo, located at Sri Javarathanapura Kote. Head on down if you actually want to experience this engulfing moment right here at Upside Down Colombo. Now, we were in conversation as to how we can navigate 2024, especially making plans and setting up goals as well. Now, you obviously mentioned when it comes to, finding a purpose as well. But in Sri Lanka, as a youth member, it is very difficult to do that. I'll tell you why. Because we have a culture and a norm when it comes to finding yourself, your passion. You could do music, it could be dancing, it could be, in the art and the creative side of things. Your parents are going to be like, no. Society is going to be like, no. The three options for you is, of course, being a doctor, lawyer, or finding yourself maybe being a banker, So how do you navigate things like this? Because it is a real cause that's causing a lot of,
Absolutely. That can be really challenging in current times because with the modernization of the world, the internet, there are so many new careers. People want to become YouTubers, people want to become TikTokers, like commercially do it, right? So there are so many new things that are coming up. And the last person to understand, or people to understand, would be your parents, because they are coming from a completely different era, completely different generation, where when they grew up, internet was not even to be heard of. So it can be that much difficult to convince them to let go of what the kind of vision they have for you, where you convince them to embrace what you want to become. And this is a real life problem. This is a real problem, and a place where a lot of parents and children are conflicting currently. I have had few conversations with few parents and children like this as well, who are going through the same thing. But we need to understand, as a child or as a young adult, you need to understand your parents are trying to take these decisions in your best interest to the best of their knowledge. So these kind of conversations you need to start looking at very empathetically and understanding that your parents actually wants the best done for you. So usual response in a situation like this is because the child also would be coming with a lot of emotions, wanting to do what they really like to do, so much of passion and motivation and drive. And here your parents, you start seeing them like the villains in the story. You're like, no, you have to study and become a doctor, right? And that's the last thing you want to do. You're like, why do I want to become a doctor? I don't like even medicine. You come from a place like that. So conversations like this ends up splitting parents and children, and people really disliking each other, hating each other, and bad blood at the end of the day. So you need to first understand what your parents are trying to do is of your best interest and to the best of their knowledge. They are trying to give you a life the way they know, to create your future. So number one is understanding it from their perspective. Does not necessarily mean that you have to do what they're asking you to do, but be empathetic towards them. Understand where they're coming from. Understand that they're trying to do the best for you. And have a heart-to-heart conversation. And how you can convince your parents would be by showing them enough evidence through which you can justify what you're saying. So you need to make them understand it's not like those days. Now there are so many other careers, people doing so well. And sometimes your parents might not be tech savvy as much as you are. They don't know what you're talking about even. Show them examples, show them success stories, show them videos of, let's say for an example, YouTuber. If someone wants to become a YouTuber, show them physical evidence of people becoming YouTubers, becoming multi-millionaires and having great lives. Fulfilling their purpose and passion, doing what they like to do, and inspiring the world or entertaining the world, and earning millions and having a good life. Do you think if your parents can see the justification, the evidence that they would still want you to become something that you're not. And help them to understand that, you know, if you go down a path that you do not enjoy, you might not have the success that they desire you to have. So if you can have that kind of conversation, rationalize this emotional conversation, I think you have a greater chance of convincing your parents. Right. I have had people come in to me to mediate conversations like this, because the parents think they are doing this for their children, for the best of their children, and the children are like, why don't my parents understand? They both want to create a future for the child filled with success and happiness. That's the common objective. But if you can put that in the center and start speaking different languages to both these parties and help them understand that they are trying to achieve one objective, and there is evidence in what the child wants to achieve and that he can do it, sometimes parents can change their mind. But I have to admit, we come from a very conservative country, and the way our parents think can be very difficult, but it's not impossible to achieve that.
Talking about the rat race that you mentioned before as well, a lot of us obviously fall into the trap of a rat race, which is a 9-to-5 job which we don't quite enjoy as much as well, to be quite honest. But when it comes to people like, you know, very famous people in music, for example, Yohani as well, she was a banker at a certain point, and only at the turning point of like 30s when she actually decided, you know what, I'm done with banking, I want to pursue my passion. And now today she's very successful. This is the case when it comes to multiple other people as well. How do we actually navigate this when it comes to being a society? How can we move things?
Right. So I have met people who are in their 40s, discovering that they're unhappy with their life, discovering that they're not doing something that they want to be doing. But they're doing quite well financially. They've prospered in their career, come to a place where they are earning a big salary, life is cushy, they have the fame and the fortune, but they have discovered that there's no happiness in life. Now, when you are in a situation like that, and when you discover your purpose and passion, and you realize maybe you need a career switch, or you need to do something completely different, sometimes you feel like, oh my God, it's too late. Like if you are a director in a company and changing your career means that you have to start from the bottom, you're not going to earn the kind of money that you are earning right now. So people are faced with these problems. Even if you want to do something of your own, it's going to take time for it to develop to a level which it can sustain your financial requirements. So these kind of problems are very common when you get into discovering your purpose and passion at a later stage of life. But the good news is, there are solutions for all those. I have had this a person that I've worked with, a synonymous name in the IT industry. He has been, like a great personality, senior position, and doing financially quite well, but realized he is not happy. In his journey of discovering purpose and passion, he realized his passion lies in music. He wanted to become a producer, but when he was schooling, his parents didn't even have money to buy him a guitar or a keyboard. So it died down. But the process allowed him to remember all these things and to re-establish this is what he wants to do in life. But can he go back and start doing it, letting go of everything that he's doing right now? Absolutely no.
Yeah.
But together with him, we created a 4-year plan. Not a simple 1-year plan, but a 4-year lengthy plan through which he could slowly start learning the things that he wants and transition into something that he really likes, because now he has enough and more money even to put up a studio, fully fledged studio. That's where he is. But he feels like, he has lost time. But even in situations like that, there are ways that you can achieve your dreams. But now coming back to talking about the youth, maybe in the 20s, early 20s, discovering your purpose and passion at this moment really helps you to get through this rat race that we were talking about. Sometimes not everyone might be able to start a business, because it requires not only a passion, but it requires a greater deal of knowledge. But if you discover what you are passionate about, you can start working towards it. Maybe you start in an industry which satisfies your purpose and passion, so you feel purposeful about waking up on Monday mornings with great excitement, saying yes another Monday morning, rather than what most people go through. They wake up in Monday morning and say, oh my God, I don't want to go to work, right? Why am I doing this even, right? So you change the gear wheel, the motivation, the enthusiasm you have by discovering your purpose and passion and putting yourself in an industry, in a career which satisfies that. And if you know where your purpose and passion lies in, and if you have a greater goal of doing something of your own, then you can start working towards that.
Amazing.
You can start laying the foundational pillars and the building blocks,
Right.
which will lead to maybe your own enterprise in another 10 years. So it is possible, and the best thing you can do for yourself is start young.
Amazing. Now, Mr. Lien, obviously you work in the industry, which is very unique, very niche as well in Sri Lanka, and quite frankly, the world as well. You help people with their careers and build lives that they want to and fulfill their purpose as well. So in your work of, helping people, has there been a moment or, a story that has actually helped you or impacted your life personally from the work that you do and being like, hey, you know what, this is what I want to do with my life?
So, I'm not going to mention names, obviously,
okay.
but there was this 18-year-old girl that I coached. I would say one of the youngest I've coached, maybe 17 years old. Her problem was she was studying. Parents want her to get married and settle down. That was their culture. But she was very ambitious. But she felt obliged to listen to the parents, as well as she did not have that confidence, because like many youth, she was confused, like, if I don't select this path, what am I going to do? And when you're in a situation like that, you see all the reasons why you can't achieve your dreams. That's usually the standard default gear, because you have so much of doubt, self-doubt in you. I worked with her, one of my flagship programs called the Success Blueprint, which is a 3 to 4 month coaching program. By the end of it, the realizations she had allowed her to have the kind of breakthroughs to establish what exactly she wants to do in her life and start her own business. So coming right out of school, getting into a higher education, while doing all that, she realized what her purpose and passion was and started working towards that. And an amazing shift happened. Her parents started seeing the shift in this child and how entrepreneurial that she is being, and they started putting less pressure on the whole marriage concept.
Right? Interesting.
Now, at the present date, she has been doing this business for almost a year. She's quite successful for her age, and her parents are not pushing. Obviously, they want her to get married at some point, but then again, they also have understood the importance of her building her own enterprise, and they are also helping her.
That's amazing.
And I would say for a person who's about 17, 18 years old, this is a great achievement.
Wait, so she's 17 or 18? How old is she?
She was 17 when she started.
Okay, and now she's
just past 18.
Past 18,
yes.
She's already successful. That's incredible, honestly. Amazing, to be quite honest. And thank you for the work that you do as well, because I feel like a lot of people need guidance in their life, because it's not just a matter of the structure that school builds you as well, where you graduate from school, you do your higher education in certain fields, and then you jump into a 9-to-5 job and you don't enjoy it, right? Because a lot of the notion when it comes to things is where you have to be educated in order to fulfill your passion. Is this concept really true though?
Education is important, qualifications are very important, but it's not the only thing.
Right.
I have met enough and more people who's not qualified per se, but who's doing a way better job than the so-called qualified people. But education is important. So, because the education gives you the foundation, right? The discipline. Sometimes it's not what we learn in school. I would say 80% of the things that I've learned in school, I'm not applying in my day-to-day work. Maybe 90%.
Quite the case everywhere as well, yeah.
But one thing school gives is it gives you a discipline of working towards fulfilling a goal with determination and persistence, even through the bad days, showing up every day. And that's what school really teaches you. It's not the subjects. Obviously, you're learning things from the subjects, but then again, it gives you that kind of discipline where, despite sometimes you're sick, sometimes you are not having the greatest day, sometimes you're after a breakup, but you're still pushing yourself to go to school. Why? Because you want to achieve a goal. And you're working with a group of people, not as an individual. So school actually teaches you much more than your subjects. So I believe education is important, working towards a goal is important, qualifications are important, but that itself is not important. You need to collect experience. You need to collect the know-how and the capabilities, the soft skills, right? Understand yourself, understand others, learn to work with people, and polish up your skills beyond what the school teaches you, or the qualifications give you, because that counts when you are actually in the real life.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Lien. And of course, we're in conversation with an absolutely amazing legend right here, helping us through navigating 2024. And of course, don't forget that this is Gen XYZ. Welcome down to Gen XYZ right here on Other Derana 24. We're in conversation with Mr. Lien Keerthisinghe, a life coach helping us all navigate 2024. And of course, we're in conversation with regards to how we can actually find purpose in life and really work towards this as well. But the question is, when it comes to many things, especially when it comes to things like, finding your goal, finding what exactly you want to do as well, it's quite difficult, isn't it? So what do you find yourself recurrently finding you telling people, especially the youth, when they actually come to you saying, Mr. Lien, how do I find my goal? How do I find the purpose of my life?
So I think to discover your purpose and passion, you need to start asking the right questions from yourself. I like to draw my attention to a quote made by Tony Robbins. He says, the quality of life depends on the quality of the questions that you ask. So similarly, if you ask the right questions, discovering your purpose and passion can be much more easier. I remember when I was discovering my purpose and passion, I spent about 3 days probably sleepless. I ended up crying also at one point because it was so difficult. And this huge whiteboard in front of me, writing all sorts of stuff, trying to figure out what makes me happy, what makes me feel achieved, what makes me feel fulfilled, what do I want to do for the rest of my life. Now, as a result of that exercise, I ended up realizing I have to become a coach. That's where my purpose and passion lies. So for anyone who wants to discover their purpose and passion, asking the right questions could be something that they can start from. What kind of questions, right? You can ask questions like, what makes me happy? Right? What do I really love doing? What am I really good at doing? What are those things when I start doing, I feel like time just disappears, right? You can ask questions like, if I had to do one thing for the rest of my life, every day, what would that be? When you ask powerful questions like that, you start thinking differently. I end up asking this question from older people. I ask them, when you were a child, what were those things that you always wanted to do? What did you want to become? What were those few things that you said, when I grow old, I will do this? Invoking the inner child in you. Sometimes questions like that helps us remember and realize and understand certain things which are deep-seated in us, which we really, really like to do. If you don't discover purpose and passion, what will happen is you will fall into, like a piece of a puzzle, you'll fall into a template. And you'll start waking up, maybe going to work and doing something because you have to do rather than you want to do. So it's all about discovering what you really want to do in life and not end up doing what you have to do just to get through what you start defining as life.
Yeah, but I feel like the problem is, especially when you set up goals as well, achieving them comes where the challenge comes. Okay, achieving it is literally where the challenge comes, because you tend to try it 100 times or maybe like a 10-time basis. The first time you go on it, you fail. Second time you go on it, you fail. Third, you fail. 10th time you fail. That's where you really are like, I can't do this. This is not what I'm good at doing. What is your take on that? Because I feel like that is where most of the youth actually gives up on their goal and dream and fall into that little rat race that they do as well.
Absolutely. Let me answer that question with another question. Who created the light bulb?
Yeah,
Thomas Alva Edison. Yeah. And story says he failed 1,000 times.
Right?
Yes. The Wright brothers, the two gentlemen who invented flight.
Yes.
Stories tell that they have failed miserably so many times, right? Let's say the man conquering the moon, did it happen in their first go? Like failed miserably so many times, rockets blown up. Like if you look at the history books of history and look at all these innovations that we have, people have created and how the world have changed over the last couple of decades, all these innovations have happened because one person believed in an outcome. Thomas Alva Edison, in that example, miserably failing 1,000 times, but he believed that it was possible to capture light in a glass orb, and he kept on trying. And as much as he tried, people said he was a madman. Wright brothers were called two crazy idiots probably because they were trying to achieve flight. Humans can't fly, right? But thanks to them, we are traveling to countries, right?
Yeah.
Because they believed that it was possible. So the key take here is, when a person believes it's possible, you get this drive, this motivation, this undying ability to keep on trying despite of failing. So what happens is, when you try a couple of times and you fail, your brain starts creating a negative belief or a negative code, in my language, where it starts saying, it's not going to work. And if you have this voice in your head which is always saying that it's not going to work, you're going to start believing that. And if you believe in those negative statements, you're not going to try. Because if you believe that it cannot be achieved, why even waste your time trying?
Exactly.
So what I do with people is, I get them to change their belief system. I get them to reprogram their mindset.
Rewire their mindset.
Their mindset with, I call them E-codes, empowering belief systems that gives them that energy, that motivation, that drive, that determination, saying this is possible. So when you change a person's belief system, they get that energy and enthusiasm and drive and motivation that they never had, because now they believe it's possible. So every time they fail, they're like, okay, I failed because maybe this is the wrong way of doing it, but the right way exists. So I have to do something to discover it.
Right.
So this is the shift a person requires. And an integral part of coaching is teaching people how to fail forward. Failing is an inevitable part of our life. There's no one on earth who has succeeded in every go, right? So failing is an integral part of our life, but we need to learn how to fail forward. Every time we fail, learn from them and change our plans and try again. Keep on standing up despite falling. Like, right. If we did not have that mindset, we would be crawling still.
True.
None of us stood up and walked in our first go.
Yes.
But something kept us going every time we fell. Why? Probably we believed that we could, our parents believed that we could, because walking is a thing, right? So that belief is what drives a person to keep on doing. And in coaching, we learn something called the belief success cycle. It's a cycle that if you believe, your potential is going to increase. You're going to believe that you can do it. That attitude is going to help you to take action. When you take action, only you get results. If you don't take action, you don't get results. But if you take action and you get some kind of results, maybe it's not the result that you want, but at least some progress, you're going to feel good about yourself. And you're like, wow, I got results. I'm going to try even harder.
Right.
So you put in more effort. When you put in more effort, you get more results. And it works as a cycle, because every time you get more results, your belief increases, your potential increases, and you're going to try more. So more action you put, more attempts that you put, you're going to get more results. So the only way to succeed in life is to keep on trying despite of failure. But to do that, you need to first reframe your mindset.
I feel like a very important thing there as well is in terms of the energy we exuberate. It's a whole thing. Law of attraction really does exist. But if you put out a negative frequency, it is going to reflect as a negative impact on your life as well. If you put out a positive impact or a frequency, it's going to impact you positively as well. So what is your take on that? Why is law of attraction a real thing?
Okay, let me try to explain it in a non-law of attraction way for people who believe in different things, right? When you believe in something, right, your faith or your belief realigns everything around you for you to take more action, just like I explained in the earlier question. So it's this belief element that makes the change. So even if you look at it from the law of attraction, if you are negative, if you feel like this is never going to happen, the only energy the frequency that you're going to emit to the universe is the fact that nothing's going to work out for me. So your fear starts manifesting. But when you shift that mindset and you start believing that it is possible, the frequency that you're emitting is different, because you know the result that you desire is out there, and if I believe that it is possible, it's going to be attracted. So if you look at it from a non-law of attraction manner, for those who don't believe in law of attraction, even if we talk about it in a scientific way, when you believe the outcome is possible, you're going to try more, because you know that ability of achieving that result is there, but you just have not found it. As long as you keep on going, trying, you're going to find new ways of achieving that result. Right. So ultimately, you're going to get that result. So people might look at a person like that and say law of attraction worked in favor of that person. But in both cases, if you do not believe that the outcome was possible, if you don't have faith in that outcome is merely going to be a mirage. So I believe in law of attraction. I've been a strong advocate of law of attraction as well, but I've also started looking at law of attraction in different lenses, in different ways, so I can get people to achieve more, because some people don't believe in law of attraction. They don't want to accept law of attraction as a concept. But when you look at it scientifically also, it is true. Like if you believe in something, things will fall in place. Your faith can move mountains.
There you go. Oh my God. Amazing, Mr. Lien, of course. And with that, I have to ask you, because we were talking about how we can actually fail multiple times, but we have to just get going at it, right? But there is a circumstance where you might want to do something that you're passionate about. You want to do this, but you're not very good at it. I feel like that is where the connotation lies, when a lot of people actually do it, but they're not good at what they actually are passionate to do, right? So what is your take on this? Because I feel like a lot of people have many desires to do many things, especially in music and whatnot, but they're not good at it, right? So what is your take on it? Like, how can we actually still think of, okay, you know what, this is fine, I'm not good at it, but this is my passion, I should still work from it?
Absolutely. So that's a good question. When you start discovering your purpose and passion, two key questions is what I love doing and what I'm good at doing. For some people, both are in the same aisle, which is great.
Yes.
But for some people, it's completely different. Like you said, I want to sing, I want to become a musician, but I'm not good at that. Maybe I'm good at analytical skills, maybe I'm good at painting, which has nothing to do with music, right? So it's about drawing a path to do what you really love doing, which you're passionate about. In this scenario, it could be singing, but also understanding what you are good at, the key skills that you can leverage on, and trying to see how it fits into this path. Now, in doing so, discovering what you're good at doing, sometimes you have to change your plans accordingly, right? But the good thing is, things that you're not good at doing is a skill that you can develop on. So let's say I want to become a singer, but my skill set is not there, it's somewhere else. I can always work towards becoming a singer, go for voice training, learn instruments, learn music recording or whatever, and excel in that
field. Yes.
Yeah, in that field. But also not forgetting, we all come to this earth with a certain set of gifts. There are things that we are good at, and those are planted in us for a purpose. So if you're aware about what you're good at also, when you develop your skill to achieve what you really want, you can actually leverage on these skills that you have. Now for me, my purpose and my passion was to help people. Helping people can come in so many ways. I could have become a nurse, a doctor, a psychologist, in so many ways. But when I leveraged on my skills, things that I'm really good at, I realized becoming a coach seems to be the best option out of 4 or 5 options that I funneled it down to. I could have become a teacher. I could have helped people by teaching, right? But there are different ways to do that. But when I looked at my skill set, it made me realize, wow, coaching seems to be the best thing. Hence, I became a coach, right? I started working towards becoming a coach, becoming qualified as a coach, and learning how to help people through coaching. So like you said, what you're good at and what you're passionate about could be completely 2 different things. But once you discover your passion, you can start working towards developing your skills to excel in that, and then leverage on what you are good at to strengthen that path.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Lien. And of course, we've concluded this segment. And I want to know exactly what your final words are for anyone that's actually watching right now as well, wants to attain what their desirable goals are. What is your message?
Like when we started, goals without a plan is only a dream. So stop dreaming and start creating realistic goals with absolute crystal clarity, and start working towards them with belief, with faith that you can achieve them. And if you can't do it on your own, get help. It can be someone who has done it, it can be a professional, but don't be scared to get help. And if you want a great place to start, internet nowadays has so many resources, so many great coaches, so many great courses that is available to you. Start using them. Start creating your future the way you want to create it. That's what I have to say.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Lien. And of course, with that, this is Gen XYZ right here on Other Derana 24. We'll be back with a brand new episode, but don't forget, we are definitely going to be here, of course, giving you all the essentials that you need to navigate 2024. And of course, we got to give a shout out going out to this amazing, fantastic location as well. This is Upside Down Colombo, located at 3 Javaradhana Kote. And don't forget, if you do miss out on an episode, we are available on youtube.com/Other Derana English. And with that, I'm Akhil Qureshi, and you're joining in right here on Gen XYZ.
Please don't change, 'cause I